It's bad enough that RTD gives us both RAO doctors, but now it seems the fucking actors themselves are at it too. If I was Peter Davison, I would take Tennant outside for a fatherly chat with a shotgun right now. Still, Davison should count his lucky stars. At least it wasn't Barrowman's lecherous sleazy frame on top of his daughter with his cock and balls out after they had been in his cake and spraying shit over anyone who came near. You can't have Dr. fucking who slipping a length to his very own daughter, surely not? What kind of example is that to be giving to school children?
I guess it isn't as bad as the Pertwee Manning business.
Nonsense. Manning wasn't Pertwee's own daughter and had been round the block more times than the local dust cart anyway.
She was old enough to be his granddaughter though.
At least in Manning's case she was well known as a slapper who was swinging her way throughout the whole production team anyway, and so in Pertwee's case by the time he came along and picked over the scraps which were left over, nobody cared anyway. Manning's big white gob had already been stretched to Jack Nicholson Joker type proportions by then anyhow. Even if it were true that Pertwee and Manning had sexual relations, I bet Manning wasn't pretending that Pertwee was her dad whilst they were at it like rabbits.
I think Tennant should be allowed to have a relationship with another consenting adult.
So evidently you don't mind if you have young children watching the program explaining to them that the doctor having sexual relations with his daughter is perfectly fine, so long as they are consenting adults. What a very funny family you must come from, Rani. It's a wonder you weren't born with 2 heads and 3 eyes.
No. I'd explain that she wasn't his daughter and they were acting a role and the Doctor Who wasn't real.
What a horrible rotten parent you would make, Rani. I bet you'd get a gleeful sadistic delight in telling them Father Christmas doesn't exist too.
No, I think you are more cruel to tell them that monsters and Daleks really exist and that they may come and get them.
They do exist though. The Daleks represent fascism and the Cybermen represented technological communism. Seems my children will be more socio-politically aware than your children with 2 heads and 3 eyes will be.
You have totally lost it.
Rubbish. You are the one cheering Tennant on for slipping a length to Davison's daughter. If I was Peter Davison, and in a pub hearing you talk in such a lewd disgusting way about my precious and dearly loved daughter, I'd have put a bastille over your head. I think you should be deeply ashamed of yourself, and write Peter Davison a handwritten letter of apology immediately, and send it to him via first-class recorded delivery.
I'm not cheering him on. I am merely not objecting to their relationship. Surely any father will applaud his daughter dating a highly successful, wealthy, charming, popular hard-working man.
On the contrary, no father wants to see his daughter getting publicly weaved into an excitable spectacle for the general public to pick over like hungry vultures.
And if heat-loving gossips, like you didn't drone on about it, no one would mind.
Rubbish. Had they been that discreet, then no one would be any the wiser instead of flaunting themselves shamelessly at the paparazzi. The only heat-loving morons who were probably encouraging them both was Russell T. Fathead himself. If I was Peter Davison, I would have punched his glasses off for that.
Russell T. Davies has nothing to do with this.
As you yourself confessed, it was heat-loving gossips who encouraged Tennant in this action, and RTD is the biggest heat lover going, so therefore he should shoulder part of the responsibility. Obviously Tennant wasn't discreet enough, but if it means we aren't getting that thicko moronic character Jenny saying dumbass shite like hi boys in the program anymore, then fair play to him.
And trust you to side with the pap. No doubt you eagerly await your subscription to Heat every week.
Nonsense. I expect you sit next to your Lord and Master RTD both reading that rubbish Heat magazine.